Let's bring in Adnan Hayajneh. He is a professor of international relations and US foreign policy at Qatar University. Thank you so much for joining us, Professor, as ever. What are you making of these talks? There are many bottlenecks. What do you think the biggest sticking point is going to be?
I think the credibility of Israel, if they walk the talk, if they live up to the demands by Trump. There's a huge problem with the trust of Netanyahu. Netanyahu does not follow with the agreements, and he does not believe in peace. He does not believe in Palestinian states. He does not believe in, he only believes in a big stick. He only believes in a military solution. He believes in the destruction of Hamas, the Palestinian area, even the destruction of the West Bank, even taking more lands of the Arab states. So if there is no commitments from the United States to have a leverage over Netanyahu to walk the talk and to really be committed to this peace process, Hamas will not accept that, because they know from a past experience they will agree to something, they will turn on the hostages, there will be an exchange, a swap of the captives, but after that, Netanyahu will find any excuse.
If this prisoner swap, a captive prisoner swap, takes place, and Marwan Barghouti's name is on the list of people to be transferred, would that show a commitment by Israel in your view?
I think the commitment that Hamas wants and everybody wants, the complete withdrawal from Gaza, stopping the bombing, which has not stopped so far since the declaration of this initiative by Trump. And they want guarantees from the United States itself and from the Arab leaders what's going to be the next day after the withdrawal from Gaza. And this will not, I think, happen, because also Israel wants to stay there. And this is, I think, the most important issue, the credibility and the guarantees. Without guarantees, we cannot move on. I think Hamas cannot move on.
You can have the guarantees, but how do you enforce them? This is the point as well. And, you know, the International Stabilization Force, we have very little idea of what this would look like even.
Well, Netanyahu can go after them, even this surrogate government that will establish some order, or some police or international police or Arab will train them. I think Netanyahu will not stick to any agreement. If the United States guarantee with the security guarantees for what's going to happen next, we might see some optimism coming in the near future.
Many people say that this 20-point plan is actually full of holes and very many grey areas and even traps here. So the thing is, are these talks then a waste of time?
It is not a waste of time. It's I would call it as a roadmap. It is broad. It is a little bit vague. It needs to be discussed, but there are some major arguments that they need to agree on. But I think Trump is serious about it, but he wants to get it very quick. And that's what I think explains sending two important people, his son-in-law, Kushner, and his advisor, U.S. envoy, Steve Witkoff, to the region.
I mean, what is Jared Kushner doing there, if media reports are correct that he's heading also to Egypt? I mean, he has no portfolio.
That's a good point, but Kushner is really interested in the economic sides of the day after the ceasefire or rebuilding Gaza. He has some economic interest, I think, with Tony Blair, and they have discussed this previously, I think, in the White House, and Trump maybe has some interest, economic interest in Gaza.
Okay, so that brings me to, you mentioned roadmaps. We are kind of come up with a roadmap for just a ceasefire now. That this is what we're looking at currently. The point is, it's also a plan which actually recognizes the Palestinian aspirations for statehood without actually any roadmap towards a state here. And that's something that, of course, Netanyahu has said will never come into being.
That's true. That's what Hamas wants. They want a complete package. Not only a ceasefire, not only just a swap of the captives. They want to know the end game of all of this. And what is in the plan is vague, so they need to discuss everything. And there's also one statement is about a path to the Palestinian states. But we know from so many indicators that Netanyahu does not believe in that. He does not believe in that. Not only, if you look at the history of Netanyahu, he never believes in the Oslo Agreement. He never believes in a Palestinian state. So this is a sticking point, I think. If Trump wants to close this file and to move on with other agreements in the region, I think so many of the conditions is having a Palestinian state. Namely, we're talking about Saudi Arabia relationship, a future relationship with Israel, and maybe signing an Abraham Accord like other Arab states.
Professor, thank you. Adnan Hayajneh there, Professor of International Relations and US Foreign Policy at Qatar University.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.